your lecture very, very much. Thank you.
Demon by volume. Demon by no sound. Okay, is it okay to start?
Yes,
Demon,
it is
open.
already 5:31.
Yeah, okay. Namo Arihantanam, Namo Siddhanam, Namo Airiyanam, Namo Uvachayanam, Namo Loe Savasahunam. Jai Jinendra, everybody.
Jai Jinendra.
Today is second day of das Lakshan Parva, even though for this session, we are calling it the 9th day of Paryushan, because we are trying to not differentiate between the two sects. It's 18 days of Paryushan for us. And our topics are something that are common between both the paramparas. So today, as we continue the Bara Bhavana, today is Ekatva Bhavana. So let me start with introducing our junior speaker. Our junior speaker today is Umed Maru. He is from Jain Center of New York. And Umed is he's 14 years old now, even though I've known him since I think he was 6 or 7. And he goes to Baccalaureate School for Global Education. He's in grade 9 now. He is associated with Jain Center of America, New York, the one in Queens, the multi-story temple. So as you can see, we have students from all the major centers, Chicago, New York, New Jersey, Dallas, all the way to LA, San Francisco. We have just about a lot of the cities covered. His mentor at home is his Nani, Usha Maru. Usha Maru spends most of her time in Swadhyay, and it's amazing how much she has taught these two grandchildren, the two twin boys. Their hobbies are drawing, reading, soccer, and running. Their long-term plans are to be decided. That's just fine, Umed. You will, one of those things you will see as it comes. And I happen to know a little bit more about these kids. They both not only, know the religion, just the practical side of it, but they also know the Nishchay because their grandma has taught everything to them. They sing bhajans. They, of course, they make presentations. I think, don't you guys play some instruments too? Yeah, you can unmute. That's fine. Okay. So, it's just amazing. I mean, grandparents, parents, they all try to teach kids, but the kids who have the ability to absorb all this, that's how these two kids are. So I give them a lot of credit. And even though their parents are both physicians, very busy people, his dad is not a born Jain. and still they have done just amazing, the whole family. So over to you, Umaid.
Hello. I'll share my screen very slowly. Jai Jinendra, everyone, and Michami Dukram in advance. I'm just gonna share my screen real quick. Oh, yeah, share screen. This one. One sec. There we go. And
You have to share it.
yeah, I'm sharing it right now.
Okay.
And okay, can you all see it?
Very good.
Okay. Well, Jai Jinendra, everyone. I'm going to be talking about Anyatwa Bhav. It's one of the 12 bhavnas that are concepts to contemplate in order to realize your true soul. These bhavnas are also called anpreksha, or concepts to meditate on. Anyatwa is the 5th of the 12 bhavnas, but you can, order them whichever way you want. Okay. So Anatya, Anyatwa is the concept of separation. On one level, it can mean separation of body and the soul, but another meaning of Anyatwa can mean the separation of soul from your desires. Another meaning of Anyatwa is the separation of two bodies and souls, like two different people. Anyatwa Bhavana is something to contemplate more deeply in Jainism. Think about asking questions to yourself. What is the difference between the soul and the body, or myself and another? What truly makes them separate? So I'm going to sing a Anyatwa Bhav song, and then I'm going to say the meaning. I'm not the best singer, but I'm going to try my best, okay? Jahan de apani nahi, tahan na apano koi, kara sampatti para prakataye, parahe parijana loy. Okay. So Nischayana and Vyavaharane are these concepts of absolute truth, which is Nischayana, and relative truth, which is Vyavaharane. This includes the 12 bhavana. Absolute truth makes us think of our pure soul, whereas relative truth, or Vyavaharane, makes us think in association with more material things. For example, my brother and I were fighting viciously, and both accused the other that they upset us. This is the perspective of Vyavaharane for Anyatva Bhav. Nischayana, on the other hand, would be that I got upset of my own volition, and that nothing could make me upset if I didn't want to be. In the Nischayana perspective, Anyatva Bhav is the recognition that my soul is separate from others, and I have my own ability to be upset or happy. So Anyatva Bhav in Nischayana, the perspective of Nischayana, and it can be explained as both Nischayana and Vyavaharane, which is almost always done in Jainism. Explained as Nischayana, Anyatva Bhavana means separation of dravyas and the completeness and independence of each dravya. Most importantly, that I as a soul am completely separate from Ajib. This means a oneness and totality of our soul, and absolute separation from everything else. Explained from the Vyavaharane perspective, Anyatva Bhav is thinking about my soul in association with my body, and my body as a separate from my family and wealth. For example, if I lost all my wealth, I would understand that it isn't part of me, and there's no reason to be sad. From the Vyavaharane perspective, remembering the separation of your possessions and your family from yourself is Anyatva Bhav. Now, I'm going to say thank you to Prabhaji and my Nani for helping me with these slides, but I also wanted to leave some extra time for questions and like different discussion about Anyatva Bhav, because it's a complicated subject, and also Nischayana and Vyavaharane as well. So.
Good job, beta. And so let me ask you the first question. You sang that Jahan deha apni nahi.
Yeah.
You want to tell the meaning of it in English?
Oh, did I not tell the meaning? I think I forgot about that.
Okay, don't worry. Just look at it. And if you don't know, I'll explain.
No, I know the meaning.
Wonderful. So yeah, go ahead.
So it means that where where this body is not mine, jahan de apaninahi, then nothing else is mine. And I know that the house and the wealth and everything is separate from me. So it's like a mix of both. The first line of it is nischanay, and the second line is vyaharne almost.
Not really. This is all
Or-
Vyavahana. Basically, what it's saying is that even if my body is not even mine, that I am not even the body, everything else, like the house, the money, and all the relatives, everything, who are they related to? To this body.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly. So it's separate from me.
If I'm not even the body, how can I be connected to all the other people? They're all separate.
Yeah, I guess it's all in this jhana because everything is separate from the eternal soul. And also it's Vyavaharne because the body is connected to the house and the wealth and everything.
Okay, so this is, yes, okay for your age for now. So
Yeah.
wonderful. And if anybody else in the audience wants to ask, you can stop sharing the slides. And if someone asks, you can definitely answer. Anybody else wants to ask Umed? I think that was very brave of him to even ask that people can ask him questions. That means he's so confident, right, Umed?
Well, also that I just think that, even if I don't know the answer, it's just good to understand the question so that I can ask them myself as well.
Very good attitude. Very good. So I guess everybody must have understood what you said. Nobody's asking questions.
Can I add to this? It probably will be coming in the later, but
No,
but
let's
that
not add right now. Let's
translation.
finish all the presentations. Only then we will
Okay.
add in. Right now,
Sure,
we don't.
sure.
Yeah,
But
because
Umed, the translation you gave is not perfect, and you try to listen to the rest of the senior speaker, okay, to get the
that's
meaning, or if not, you ask me.
why I don't want to on it right now.
Yeah.
So, okay. So without much delay, I am going to do two things before I introduce our next speaker. Like we said, we are today is Uttam Madhav Day. We are not doing those 10 dharma of soul. We did that last year. Today we have different topics, but I will be just briefly saying something about Uttam Madhav and each day, whatever the dharma is. So today is the second day, which is Uttam Madhav. So what is Uttam Madhav? Modesty is a distinct nature of the soul, like forbearance. First day was forbearance, which is the nature of soul. So just like anger is not the nature of soul, same way pride is not the nature of soul, humility and modesty is the nature of soul. The state of tranquility, which is produced in the soul in the absence of pride and by taking the shelter of the prideless nature of the soul, is called modesty. So we see people are modest, they don't speak much. That's not the modesty we are talking about here. Although modesty is the natural character of the soul, yet the modification of the passion of pride, which is devoid of modesty, is existing in it from beginning, less time. So modesty or humility is the name of tenderness or meekness. Owing to pride passion, the modesty existing in the nature of the soul gets nullified and sort of stubbornness is developed in it. Due to arrogance resulting from pride passion, man thinks himself to be too high and others too low. The required degree of politeness is lost in him. The self-esteemed person always tries to keep himself an elated position and others in lower position. Now, I could go on and on about this because there's a lot to learn and say about Mardha Dharma. But since Shantiji wanted to contribute something, I'm going to let him say the art mud. There are 8 types of pride one can have. And if you can please tell them, and I'll briefly explain. Oh, he's not able to unmute Dhimanji. Dhiman Bhai, are you there? Let me see if he made me a co-host.
I'm here. I'm here.
Okay. If you can please unmute Shantiji.
Okay. So we must understand that there are 8 kinds of prides. One must remove those even for self-realization. They are extremely important. That means we don't think all those 8 things are a part of me. First one is mother side of the family. Second is father side of the family.
If you can also say the words of it, please.
Yeah. I'm going to speak in Indian word. Jati, kul is the father side. Bal, roop, the strength, the physical. Roop, how beautiful you look or whatever you look like. Jati, kul, bal, roop. Tap, shrut, the penance you do. Shruta means the knowledge you have, the scriptural knowledge. Labha, shruta. Tap, Aishwarya. And the Aishwarya is the wealth and fame, whatever you have. Jati, kula, bala, rupa, tap, shruta. Lab is like whatever you endeavor you do, how you become successful. Don't take pride into this. They are all external to you, your soul. So these are the 8 very critical. I remember it since childhood, so I can, say that even in my sleep if somebody wakes me up. So, but they are important.
Okay, so thank you so much. So I'm not going to elaborate too much of them because we are only spending very limited time on this. So, so those 8 types of mud, and I'm sure we all have experienced those at some point or the other. Somebody gives a positive compliment and, unknowingly or knowingly, we feel that little sense of pride. Or in fact, I myself try to experiment on myself whenever if somebody praises, and then I come back to saying, okay, am I able to practice the Mardha Dharma? So one other thing point I want to point out, which is different, which we don't think about, is that pride is not just when you have a lot, when you're very beautiful, or you have a lot of prosperity, or you have a lot of strength. It is also, it works the other way around also. If you don't think you're beautiful, and the fact that you feel that that you're not good enough, that is also man kashai, which is something we don't think about. Sometimes we feel, oh, wo to itne bade log hain, as if you think you are chote log. That is also man kashai. So always keep in mind, if you ever think that you're less than somebody, that is also man kashai. And it bears the same type of pop as when you have too much and you're too proud of it, or, showing off and all those things. Because soul is not, big or small. So we should not have any of those feelings. We should understand the Vastu Swarup, how things work, how we get these things, why we get them, which will get rid of this pride feeling in us. We will just accept the way things are, and accept the fact that, yeah, today I may have beauty, I may have money, but tomorrow it could be gone. And I should still be the same equanimous as I would be when I have them or when I don't have them. So that is the key lesson from this Mardha Dharma. So without much delay, let me introduce the speaker so she gets her proper 40 minutes to talk. So,
Prabhaji, I
yes.
would like to just say thank you.
That's right. I wasn't sure if that, I think this is a better time instead of after introducing her. Yes, we have Shobhaji Chedavora from Los Angeles. She is director of West Coast, right? Jaina director for West Coast. And we are working, she's also in charge of Arihant Academy. And it's been a very nice time working with her on this program. and she wants to say a couple words. Over to you, Shobha.
Thank you, Prabhat. Pranam and Jai Jinendra, everybody. We trust you. You are in good Satam. And I'm a VP for USA West region in Jaina, and I'm member of Jain Center of Northern California. But today is a special occasion. So, on behalf of the Jaina, if we have ever unknowingly or knowingly hurt you through our thoughts, speech, or actions, we sincerely ask for forgiveness. Michami Dukadam and Uttam Kshama. As we reflect on the past year, we are grateful for your continued support. Jaina and I welcome you to the series of lectures offered in English on this occasion of Paryushan and Daslakshan. I hope you are really enjoying the lecture series. And please send your thoughts. So we will continue with this series, and we want to do it, as Prabhaji also have suggested so many times, on monthly basis. So we will certainly try. And I thank you, Prabhaji, for bringing this wonderful series of lectures to you. As a Jain scholar, she has put in so much energy and thought for this series. As this note, I wish everybody a very peaceful and auspicious Daslakshan, and thank you for joining us. And here is Prabhaji. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Shobhaji. Yeah, in fact, when you said that monthly, in fact, just a couple of days ago, at the end of the program, I asked people if for any comments, and there were a few people that came out and said how nice it would be to have this regularly, every month, every 2 months. So we are getting demand of that. So people are very much interested in learning more and more about Jainism. So
Thank you. We will work on it. Thank you so much.
Very nice. Okay, so now let me introduce our speaker today. So our speaker is Kinnari Shah. She is from, oh, wait a minute, 1 second here. I'm sorry. Actually, she is my classmate, by the way, in the 5-year Parmagam course I did. She is a chartered accountant, CA from India, and CPA, certified public accountant from Texas. She's currently also studying the Parmagam Master's Program. She's member of Jain Society of North Texas. She teaches in the Jain Society of North Texas Pathshala since last 5 years. Kinnari is mother of 3 beautiful children, and she has her husband's unconditional support. So thank you, husband. In all her endeavors, she mentors her kids at home with knowledge of Jainism and its application in life. She works at a fintech company as a senior accountant. She enjoys yoga, music, walking, healthy cooking with Jain style, and above all, teaching Jainism. She, at the Jain Pathshala in Dallas, she teaches her class Dravya, Tattva, Bar, Bhavana, Shiksavashyak, and leads her class to do meditation, yearly performance, question answers, for motivating the kids and imbibe the joy of learning Jinvani. Kinnari has a keen interest in learning Jinvani and its application in life for spiritual prosperity. Kinnari does continuous swadhyay, daily meditation, and aspires to go deeper for Atmanubhuti. She has a huge gratitude for swadhyay, the Parmagam course she took, and revered spiritual dignitaries' pravachans to make a difference in her life with the purpose of Ratnatrayi ki sadhana, Nijatma ki aradhana, and Jin Dharm ki prabhavana. So as you can see, our speakers come from all walks of life. We have people that are retired. We have people with children. What I want to show here is you don't need to be completely free before you start Jainism. A lot of the people think, oh, we will do it, when we are older and we have nothing better to do. No, that is not what religion is for. You will not be able to do it if you don't do it in your young life. And once you dwell into it, the field Jainism is a lot more interesting than accounting, physics, computer science, any field. Believe me, we have gone through it and we have understood it, that this is the most important thing. Talk about for pride. It's about you. What more do you want to learn? It's about me. So to all those people who have children who have to run kids around to classes, please take Kinnari as an example. She has 3 kids too, like you do. If she can do it, you can too. So attend these and progress in your spirituality. Over to you, Kinnari.
Namaha samaisaraya svanubhutya chakasate chitsvabhavaya bhavaya sarvabhamantara chide. Jai Jinendra, everyone. Thank you, Jaina. Thank you, Prabhaji, for giving me this wonderful opportunity. Before I begin, I have a presentation. I'm going to share my screen.
Yeah, you are able.
Are you able to see my screen?
Yes. If you want to put it on presentation mode, Kinnari.
It's not. Hold on.
Right now, it's not. Just press that presentation.
Is it?
Yeah, now it's good.
Okay. So on this auspicious occasion of Paryushan Daslakshan Mahaparva, I hope everybody is having good Shata. This is a festival of spirituality, forgiveness, and doing Atmaradna. Thank you, Jaina and Prabhaji, for giving me this opportunity. Yesterday was the last day of Paryushan, and I know most people do Samvatsari Pratikramana asking for universal forgiveness from one's own soul and every jiv. Michhami Dukram and Uttam Shama Bhav. Essence of this Mahaparva is spiritual prosperity, forgiveness, and come closer to the qualities of our soul. By forgiving, we become light and happy. Unless we cultivate this quality, it takes a very brave person to forgive. And it says, Shama Viro Bhusham, forgiveness is the grand road to moksha. So unless we forgive, it is very difficult to absorb Jinvani, or as matter of any, even of worldly knowledge, you may say. Until you let go and you forgive, it is very hard to absorb. So forgiving is in our own benefit. We may forgive who may have done wrong to us, but forgiving, it's for our own kalyan, it's for our own benefit. So look at it that way. If you want to be moksharthi, you have to cultivate the qualities of moksharthi. So today is the second day of the Lakshan Mahaparva, and today is Uttam Madhav. Prabhaji and Shantiji already explained about Uttam Madhav. I just want to add a couple of lines. It means humbleness, to introspect on man kashai, pride, ego, and to get out of it. As Srimad Ji says, Man gayu to moksha ahi che. That's a very powerful sentence. What he means to say is like, if we let go of our pride, moksha yahi che. Because oftentimes even we don't realize it's not about having too much and you have the pride, but even dinta, hinta, like, having less, that is also one of the pride. So letting go of both about Atmad, Shantiji already explained. So getting rid of, first of all, to understand, to introspect and getting rid of this, moksha ahi che, as Srivaji says, man gayu to moksha ahi che. So this is a very important quality, and we really need to introspect ourselves, where we stand and how we come out of it. The 10 cardinal virtues are Uttam Shama, forgiveness; Uttam Madhav, humility; Uttam Arjav, that is straightforwardness; Uttam Shaucha, that is content; Uttam Satya, that is truth; Uttam Sanyam, that is restraint of all senses; Uttam Tap, that is austerities; Uttam Tyag, that is renunciation; Uttam Akincha, that is non-possessiveness; and Brahmacharya, that is celibacy. These are the 10 cardinal virtues, and we should understand really well for our own Atma Kalyan, and we should implement in our day-to-day lives. Before we go to our Bara Bhavana, a quick recap on 4 auxiliary Bhavanas. I did on my second Bhavana, Asharan Bhavana also, but this is a kind of, these 4 Bhavanas are, for our householder, like, even though we don't go into deep into Jainism, but having just these 4 auxiliary Bhavanas helps us in our day-to-day life, and it will make us a very virtuous person. So first is Maitri Bhavana, contemplation of friendship. Second is Pramod Bhavana, contemplation of appreciation. Third is Karuna Bhavana, contemplation of compassion. And fourth is Madhyastha Bhavana, contemplation of neutrality. And the Pramod Bhavana once again goes to all the junior speakers and respected speakers for sharing their vast knowledge on Jainism and their experiences. Kudos to all of us. 12 bhavanas, reflection. So what is bhavana? Bhavana is a thought process, right? Anything do you think, good, bad, it comes in a thought process. So we have to be very vigilant how our thought process is, because bhav can take you to naragati or it can take you to moksha. We are going to go more in details, but just to start with, what is bhavana? It is one of the most important aspects in Jain philosophy, because Tirthankar Bhagwan also, before taking Diksha, they do this, 12 bhavanas, they contemplate on these 12 bhavanas. So this is very, very important to understand each bhavana and how it can make us from Bahiratma to Antaratma and from Antaratma to Paramatma. First is second is Ashuran Bhavana, helplessness. Third is Sansar Bhavana, cycle of life and death. Fourth is Ekatva Bhavana, solitariness. Fifth is Anyatva Bhavana, otherness of the body, separateness. And this is the subject matter of a discussion today, the fifth Bhavana, which is Anyatva Bhavana. Sixth is Asuchi Bhavana, impurity of body. These first 6 bhavanas are also called Vairagya Parat. That means they instill the feeling of dispassion and disattachment. The last 6 bhavanas are Tattva Parat. That means it will help you in progress in the spiritual path, contemplating on the Tattva, Vastu Swarup. First, it instills the dispassion, and the last 6 bhavanas is Tattva Parat. The first 3 bhavana, like the Ashrav, Samvar, and Nirjara, are also the name of the Tattvas. Ashrav Bhavana, which is inflow of karma. Samvar Bhavana, that is stoppage of karma. Nirjara Bhavana is eradication of karma. Lokus Prabhav Bhavana, that is nature of cosmos. 11th is Bodhi Dvallabh Bhavana, that is rarity of enlightenment. And last one is Dharma Bhavana, that is religion. So we are going to go into details about the 5th bhavana today. A person's behavior and his actions are the reflection of his internal thoughts. It is important to check on your thought process. Bhave bhavana bhaviye, bhave dije dan, bhave dharma aradhi, bhave keval gnan. As I said before, bhav can take you to naragati or it can lead you to moksha. Bhavanas is also called anupreksha. What is anupreksha? It means doing Chintan, Manan, again and again, thinking and, contemplating on this again and again. So it is not like one time reading of these 12 bhavanas, we are done. No, we have to do Chintan, Manan, again and again, contemplating on again and again. Because the more that we have, it's not from this birth or few years or, how many years, it's from Anadi. So until we have a strong something to break our mithya, we have to contemplate on this, even though while if you are not reading, we should have the Chintan Manan going on, even in our daily lives, how we interact, that Chintan Manan should be going on. Then only we'll truly understand the essence of these bhavanas. And these bhavanas are for our Atma Kalyan, because if Tirthankar Bhagwan also do the contemplation of these 12 bhavanas. These 12 bhavana is for all the Jeevs, Gyani, Agnani, everybody, Shravak, Shravika, Muni, everybody, all the souls who wants to do their Atma Kalyan. This 12 bhavana, 12 bhavana is for everyone. What kind of thoughts we should do? So we are going to first 6 bhavana, I've already said this is instilling the feeling of dispassion and disattachment, right? Because of an illusion, mithyatva, we think this body is mine, my family is mine, possession is mine. And then if I get sick, everybody is going to help me. That helplessness, I already talked about in 2nd bhavana, Ashranam bhavana, helplessness. Especially in the time of illness, probably, like that's one of the most significant example. And we talked about the examples from Pratmanu. We also talked about, and Shreya talked about Alexander the Great. I talked about Steve Jobs. Like when you get sick, even though you're the wealthiest person on the earth, still no doctors or medicines or all the wealth and possession can save you. That is called helplessness. If that person with all this riches, the best of the doctors and everything cannot do anything, then who are we? So each bhavana had that, Anitya, transitory, Asharan, Sansar bhavana. And then 5th bhavana today is Anyatva bhavana. We don't go in details, but it is good to know all these prior bhavanas good, so we can understand the 5th bhavanas today better. So I just want to lay the ground before we go into detail for Anyatva bhavana, the first 4 bhavanas also. When I say bhave bhavana bhavye, bhave dije dan, bhave dharma aradhya, bhave kevargna, I want to quote the example of King Prasanna Chandra. King Prasanna Chandra, he was a king, of course. And then when he took Diksha, he became a Muni, Nirgranth Muni. He was doing meditation one day in the forest, and while he was there, the two soldiers were passing by, and he heard them talking. You know who this Muni is? He was King Prasanna Chandra. He was the king of this kingdom, and that kingdom is under attack. That person who the person attacked, he is like a very close relative, and he attacked the King Prasanna Chandra's kingdom. Hearing this talk of soldiers, he got very disturbed. He said, how dare that person can attack my kingdom? Even though he Muni Dasha, for a while, he forgot in that thought, he was binding the karmas. He forgot that he is no longer the king. He is just a Muni, and Muni exercise non-violence and sambhav for all Jeeves. For that moment, he forgot. During that, there was a samavasan of King there was a samavasan of Mahavir Bhagwan, and in that samavasan, person asked, I see that Muni over here. Can you tell me, where he would be next? Well, what he'll be? And Bhagwan says he's minding the karmas of Nargati, because during that time the question was asked, it was Nargati, while the Muni Prasanna Chandra, now he was in that thought, and when in that thought only, and he said, okay, let me show that king how he attacked my king. Let me, attack him. And in that agitation, he touched his head and he realized there's nothing. And he touched his head and he realized, oh my God, I'm not a king. I'm a Nirgranth Muni. What did I do? Like, what was I thinking? What happened to me? Immediately, he could change his vow. He understand immediately, and from that he really repent and he started having nirjara, and then in a few moments he attend Kevalgna. And then from Devta, that Dundubi and everything was played, and people in the Samosas said, like, what is this? And they said, the person you are asking about what's going to happen, he just attend Kevalgna. So this is just a brief story about King Prasanna Chandra that I like to quote to show the emphasis of Bhavana. That what Bhavanas, even though our actions can show if we are on the good path or bad path, are we thinking positive, negative? Actions can show directly. But what goes inside Bhavanas, we only know. That's why we need to our own gurus, because what goes inside, we only know. That's why by understanding and contemplating on these Bhavanas, understanding the examples from Pratmanu Yoga also, it just motivates and tell us to go on the right track. If something we having negative emotions for anybody or anything, then we need to rectify it. It's not okay. That's why we have to do more, Chintan Golan, more contemplation of these 12 bhavanas. So immediately that thought comes, the break is that. Immediately something, not positive going on, you're able to exercise the break, stop at that time only, rather than, just engrossing in it. Rather than getting more engrossed in it, you put a break there. And because how can you put a break in that weak moment? Only if we have done the Swadhyay, if you have contemplated on these 12 bhavanas, because now we know very well, it's not only the actions, the intention behind the actions, the thought process behind the actions that will bind you the karma. For any action to happen, it may be good one or bad one. For example, if we have to go to a vacation, any vacation spot, for example, Hawaii, we would have thought so much before going to, right? Before we physically go to Hawaii, booking, what spot when to go, what we want to go do. We have so much planning, so much thinking. So just going to one spot, if you're thinking so much, imagine if we have to get rid of our mithyatva, that too from bhava, from births and births, how much contemplation we need to do. It's just not few minutes, but that continuous Chintan Golan should be going on. And we have to be in that awareness stage that bhav is very, very powerful. What thoughts we bind karmas accordingly. And if we want to do our Atma Kalyan, spiritual prosperity, we have to really deep dive into these bhavanas and contemplate again and again. That's why it's also called Anupreksha. Anyatva means otherness of the body, separateness. The soul that resides in the body due to ekshetra sambandh is separate from body and everything else, including rag, dvesh, shubh, ashubh, karmas, etc. All the things. Now let's ponder over here. What I said is the soul that resides in this body. This ekshetra sambandh means I already explained before, occupying the same space, because soul and body that you see, it's occupying the same place. But my soul is separate from my body, my ragdvesh, karmas, shubh bhav, ashubh bhav, everything else. So let go of, like, what we talk about possessions, it's like farther off, right? When I'm separate from my body, even my karmas, shubh, ashubh bhav, wealth, we can totally understand now is so separate. Even our family, everything is so separate from us, right? So soul is separate from all of this. Anyatva Bhavana instills the Vedga. That is, this is one of the most important bhavanas, because this bhavana, Anyatva Bhavana, means otherness, separateness. That's a very powerful thing for Ved Vigyan, the science of Ved Vigyan. Swa par prakasha. Swa is me and everything is for. Everything, including body, sanyog, karmas, shubhav, ashubhav, everything else is separate from it. So this is one of the most important bhavanas, Anyatva Bhavana, which instills the science of Ved Vigyan. Anyatva Bhavana, along with Anitya, Asharan, Sansar, and Asuchi are Vairagyapara, instill this passion. Knowledge, darshan, sukh, virya are among the infinite qualities of the soul. The picture that you see in this slide, it is about the Muni in deep meditation and King Shrenik. So King Shrenik had heard a lot of good things about Jain Muni, that they exercise complete violence, they have sambhav for all Jews, and he did not have so much respect for Jainism at that time. Once he was passing by the forest and he saw this Muni in deep meditation. So he decided to, he decided to test that Muni. When he was coming closer to the Muni, he saw a dead snake around. He picked up that dead snake and put it around the neck of the Muni. And he thought he would get disturbed. But no, Muni was still in deep meditation. He was undisturbed, untouched. He did not. He was still in his deep meditation. That annoyed him more. And he was like, how come he's not getting disturbed? He put this dead snake and he's still not disturbed. So in this grudge, he just left the place and came to his palace. And he narrated the whole story to Queen Chelna, who was a devotee of Jainism. She had a lot of respect for Jainism. And she was so furious, like, what did you do? So they both came back to the place where the Muni was dead. And to their surprise, they saw Muni was still in deep meditation, but thousands of ants covered his body because of the dead snake on him. Looking at things that changed King Shren. He really repented, he remorsed for his act, he felt bad about it, that, he shouldn't have done that. Now he totally understands that Jain Munis exercise total non-violence and they have sambhav for all Jews. So they removed the upsarg, and after that Muni opened his eyes and he blessed both King Shrenik, who did upsarg, and Queen Chelna, who helped remove the upsarg. He did not have grudges for the king or the rag for the queen who helped remove the upsarg. So, and such are our Jain Munis who exercise non-violence and sambhav for all Jews, irrespective of who that person is or the situation is. Because we know that by karmas, anything can happen. But during that time, to react is in my hands, right? So this is the example of Anyatva Bhavana that I wanted to explain. Also, we see in Pratmanu Yoga, before Keval Gnan, even Tirthankar Bhagwan they're going through so much upsarg, right? So even Devta, when Keval Gnan happens, Devta comes and they do Samavarsan. But then we think when this upsarg happens, where are these Devtas? How come they didn't know about it? So this is the consequences of punya and pap, the punya and pap karmas, right? So even Mahavir Swami Bhagwan, before achieving Keval Gnan, there was upsak done by, cow herder and, Chandra Kaushik. We have heard about these stories. Even Parshvanath Bhagwan, Sangam Dev, he does so much upsak. And Pandavas from the story of Mahabharata, like when 5 Pandavas, they took Diksha and they were in deep meditation. From Kaurava's side, one of the members who saw that, oh, these Pandavas had so much grudges for the Pandavas who were now the Munis, and he put heated ornaments on them, on their body. 3 of the Pandavas achieved Nirvana, but the 2 of the Pandavas, Nakul and Sahdev, they went to Devlok. So even in these excruciating circumstances, they were able to have sambhav and total separateness. How is this happening? Like, in such a excruciating circumstances, we cannot even see the examples that we just quoted, like, the amount of pain, and we see that it gets associated with the body, but still they are able to stay in sambhav. Forgiveness is there and non-violence. How? By the Vidya of Ved Vigyan, because they have totally understood that my soul and body is separate. I'm separate from everything else, including my karmas, radvesha, everything. So it's having total belongingness of the own soul, swa. That swa par bhed is there. That belief, that contemplation comes after you introspect, after you do this anupreksha varamvar, and contemplation of these bhavanas. As Srimad Ji also says, to contemplate that no body truly belongs to another person is anyatva bhavana. In our worldly things, we say, oh, you belong to me, I belong to you. But in reality, Nishchay say, nobody belongs to anybody. It's all separate. Soul is separate from everybody. Anyatva bhavana, vairagya parak. First 6 bhavanas, Anitya, Asharan, Sansar, Ekatva, Anyatva, and Asuchi are Vairagya Parak. These 6 bhavanas set the ground ready for Atma Kalyan. So then the last 6 bhavanas, Ashra, Samvar, Nirjala, Lok Svabhava, Bodhi Dullabh, and Dharma, the Tattva Parak, we are able to get it. Until we have that feeling of dispassion or disattachment, it is very hard to really grasp the Tattvas, right? What it means and how we can really exercise it also. When one truly understands this transitory nature of things, helplessness, separateness, this feeling of dispassion will come automatically, which sahajta. Then we don't have to do this. Like when Muni then take Diksha, they follow Panch Mahavras, right? 5 Mahavras. I mean, they don't have to do it when they have so much ahoba, belongingness of for Atma, me, my soul. Everything else is becoming sahaj. For us, it seems very, very difficult. Oh my God, how can one go in this situation without any possession, nothing, like no possession, not only external possession, but they give up the internal possessions also, like, rag, dvesh, mithyatva, all these internal possessions also. So for us, we think how difficult it is, but for them, it is sahajta. They stay in this boundary because that 5 Maharas helps them to stay in the boundary and to do their Atma Kalyan. But that happens very sahaj. It only happens sahaj when you're truly engrossed in your soul and you truly understand what it means. In Pratmanu Yoga, I quoted the stories of Sitaji, Chandanbala, Anjana Devi. These all great personalities took refuge of their Atma, even in the most difficult times. They exercised Shamta Bhav and they did not blame anybody. They took refuge of their own shelter. In the most difficult times, if the study of soul and Vastu Swarup is not known or understood, it is very difficult to have sambhav, right? It's going to be very difficult. Then doing out of pity is one thing, and truly understanding Vastu Swarup and facing the same situation is different. So the same situation, if you see out of pity, it will become extremely difficult. And if you understand the Vastu Swarup, how things are, this is consequences of my punya pap, my past karmas. If I've not done right now, I may have done some other time, right? And karmas are bound to come, one way or other in this life or other life. So if not now, maybe some other life. We understand Vastu Swarup, then we become we become empowered. Like, it's not out of pity that if I'm going to unfavorable situation and I have to just, do sahanshilta or anything, but it becomes very natural. Like, it's okay. Karmas come and go. Karmas are pudgal. It doesn't have conscious. But who am I? I am Jiva. I am soul. Who should the Buddha Chaitanya Trikali Dhruv Bhagwan Atma Chu. As Guru Swami, Kanji Swami says, હું પરમાત્મા છું એમ નક્કી કર, હું પરમાત્મા છું એમ નિર્ણય કર, હું પરમાત્મા છું એમ અનુભવ કર. So all we have to do is we have to have that belongingness as I am soul, I am pure soul, and my soul is same like Siddha Bhagavan. Panch Parmeshti that we pray, Arihan, Siddha, Acharya, Upadhyaya, and Munis. The first two I'm talking about is Arihant and Siddhas. My soul is also just same like Siddha. Sarva Jiv che Siddhasam. And Srimadji says, Sarva Jiv che Siddhasam. So until we do the svadhyaya, until we do the study of self, our own soul, it is very hard to get it. The same situation I was talking about, to react or not react is in my hands. It is not out of pity, but understanding Vastu Swarup. What is my purpose, my higher purpose? I want to be moksharthi. I want to do my Atma Kalyan. Then we have to understand this Vastu Swarup, what it means. And that will, all the other things will flow in Sahajta. Good situation, bad situation, doesn't matter what the situation. Irrespective of the situation, I'm happy. I'm not dependent on any situation or any person or anybody for me to make happy. My happiness is in my hands. This independence, empowerment, swadhinta comes with the study of self. By doing contemplation of these 12 bhavanas, we have that joy and happiness. So whenever I like to talk about these bhavanas, is just like, I also like to talk about Panch Parmeshti. In Asharan Bhavana, I said, from Nishchay se, only Savior is my soul. And from Vyavhar se, it is Panch Parmeshti. I discussed in length about Arihant Bhagwan, who are Vitragi, Kevalgnani, and Hitopdeshi. Today, we are going to talk more about my own soul, because today's bhavana is anyatva bhavana, separateness from soul, from all the other jivs or all the other circumstances. The only savior is my own soul. 4 kinds of buddhi: kartutva, doership, bhaktutva, ekatva, mamatva. Because of these 4 buddhis, if we having par, that is not me, par, then we are bound to be unhappy, because we are not exercising in a correct way. The more we depend on others, the more we see our happiness is belonging to others, the more if we see, like, if somebody praises me, I become happy. If somebody says bad words to me, I become unhappy. Good situations makes me happy, bad situations make me sad. Then we are going to entangle in this vicious cycle of birth and death. But if we want to come out of this vicious cycle of birth and death, we have to totally get it and understand that only savior is my own soul. I am happy, and I'm Paramatma, irrespective of all the other external circumstances, no matter what anybody tells me. But that doesn't mean that we become swachan, that we behaving in moderate way, right? It doesn't, we need to be having an ethical way. So don't take it in a wrong way, like a swachanta, like, do whatever you want. No, then you will definitely bind bad karmas. But I just want to make that point clear, that when I say that I want to be happy, irrespective of any situation, irrespective of what other people tell me, that means I'm talking about first is, our moral, our ethical values should be strong, right? Sadachara. I hope everybody is aware of this word, sadachara. My moral, my ethical, my ethical way of thinking and behavior should be in a right way. Then only the next thing comes. Unless sadachara is good, is ethical, you cannot go on the dharma. We cannot even talk about dharma. The first and the foundation is the sadachara. So our ethical values should be right. Now these 4 kinds of buddhi, like kartutva, bhaktutva, mamatva, and ekatva, if we put it in our own soul, then we can do our Atma Kalyan. And this, we can overcome these consequences of birth and death. Because whenever there is sansar, there is rag dvesh, and then the consequences of it. It is beneficial. This, and before I said that this bhavana is beneficial to all. It's not only for Muni, Bhagwant, or it is for Agyani, everyone. It is for our own soul. Whoever wants to do the Atma Kalyan, contemplating on these 12 bhavanas is beneficial to them. The function of the soul is Gyata Drashta. The infinite place is within me. I just have to know it, believe it, and stay with him. Main Jnananand Swabhavi hu. And I would just like to say the poem written by Dr. Hukum Chandra Bali, Main Jnananand Swabhavi hu. मैं हूं अपने में स्वयं पूर्ण, पर की मुझ में कुछ गंध नहीं. मैं अरस अरूपी अस्पर्शी, पर से कुछ भी संबंध नहीं. मैं रंग राग से भिन्न भेद से भी मैं भिन्न निराला हूँ. मैं हूँ अखंड चैतन्य पिंड, निज रस में रमने वाला हूँ. मैं ही मेरा कर्ता धर्ता, मुझ में पर का कुछ काम नहीं. मैं मुझ में रहने वाला हूँ, पर में मेरा विश्राम नहीं. मैं शुद्ध बुद्ध अविरुद्ध एक, पर परिणति से अप्रभावी हूँ. आत्मानुभूति से प्राप्त तत्व, मैं ज्ञानानंद स्वभावी हूँ. This poem says about the qualities of the soul and may Jnananand Swabhavi. I need not be afraid of karmas, because karmas are pudgal, jad. They don't have consciousness. I am soul. I have consciousness. If karmas can come in their way to give their fall, whatever way, but I choose to be happy or not. That is in my hands. Whatever the karmas are, they are pudgal. Like the karmas are not friend or enemy of anyone, because it has no consciousness, it has no chetna. But I am chetna, I am consciousness. So that decision to react or not react is always in my hands, no matter what the situation is. Now, the essence of this bhavana, what is Bhed Gyan? Acharya Kundakundu says in Samaisar, Nishchay says soul and body can never be together. Essence of Anyatva Bhavana, separateness, will lead to Bhed Gyan and to Samyak Darshan, self-realization. Acharya Uvaswami in Tattva Sutra says, Samyak Darshan Gnana Chanitrani Moksha Margaha. Samyak Darshan, right perception, is the first step on the path to Dharma and to Moksha. Now let's talk more about what is Bhed Gyan. Simple definition is to distinguish between one's soul and everything else that we've been discussing, right? Now let's go a little bit more deeper. The root cause of all karmas is Mohaniya karma, mithyatva, wrong perception. So the foremost thing Jeev needs to do is to get rid of mithyatva and attain samyak darshan, right perception. So if we get rid of mithyatva, 99% of the thing is done. Because of mithyatva, and it is of Mohaniya karma, it is called the king of all karmas. Because of our wrong perceptions, we are in this sansar, and our action doesn't tend to be on the right track because of our wrong perception. When our perception is right, our knowledge, conduct, speech will be in right direction. The following four things will lead to Samyak Darshan. Belief of true Dev Guru Shastra, Vitragi Dev and Guru, and Shastras, which Vitragi Dev and Guru, which follows Vitragi Dev, and Shastras, which preaches that. In Asharan Bhavana, I talked in detail about who are Arihants, right? So I will not go in detail again this, but we have to be very cognizant of the fact that the Dev and Guru that we follow should be true. He should be Vitragi. Keval Gyani means perfect knowledge, and he should be Hitopdeshi. Understanding of the 7 tattvas, Sat tattvas, that is Jeev, Ajeev, Ashrav, Ban, Samvar, Nijara, and Moksha. When we understand these 7 tattvas in a right way, who, be, Jeev, and everything Ajeev, Swapar Bhed happens. Because then we know what is He, what is Ge, and what is Upade. When we really understand that these 7 tattvas in the right way, then we can distinguish between what is He, what is Ge. He means worth renouncing. Ge is worth knowing, and Upade is worth adopting it. So these 7 tattvas are in He, Ge, and Upade. If we understand these 7 tattvas in the right way, then it will lead to Swapar Bhed, Bhed Vigyan, and to Atmanubhuti. So this is the essence of Anyatva Bhavana, to understand the science of separateness from the soul and everything else. This leads to the attainment of Atmanubhuti. And once you have Samyak Darshan, we are on the right path of Dharma and then to Moksha. Because when Samyak Darshan happens, we have only limited bhavs and we will be liberated. So, and Samyak Darshan, it's not only in Muni Dasha, even Grahastha, like Shravak, Shravika, we as a householder can also attain Samyak Darshan. Now, how great it is. In this Pancham Ara, we cannot, from Bharat Kshetra, we cannot be Mokshati, right? Because there is no presence of Kevli. But we can definitely attain Samyak Darshan. That is still doable, right? So why don't, because this Manushya Bhav is the rarest and the most precious of all. Out of all the four gatis, 84 lakh yoni, right now, what situation we have is the most rarest and precious, because all these from Anadi, say we got so many birth in Devgati, Narki, Tiryanj, and Manushya is only countable number of. So in Shastra, there are numbers also, but not going into detail of it. That is why it is called Ratna Chintamani Dullabh Manushya Bhav. And if we don't take advantage right now, then we cannot blame anyone, because right now we have the opportunity. We know our such Shastra, even though we don't have Kevali, but we know the such Shastra. So if we really contemplate on this Jain philosophy, Jain Vani, understand it, then we can do our Atma Kalyan right now. And right now means we don't need to wait. We can just do it right away. So if we contemplate on this bhavanas, this is the essence of Anyatva Bhavana, to have Ved Gyan. Once you have Ved Gyan, then you attain Samyak Darshan, and then you are on the ladder to Moksha. And for that, you don't even need to be Muni Dasha. In Shravak Dasha, in household life, also you can attain Samyak Darshan. So how great is this, isn't it? Yes. Importance of Anupreksha Bhavanas. In Atmasiddhi Shastra, verse 117, Srimadji says, Shuddha Buddh Chaitanya Dham, Swayam Jyoti Sukadam, Biju Kahe Katlu, Kar Vichar to Pam. I'm stressing on Kar Vichar to Pam. Think. Kar Vichar to Pam. This means you are pure, knowledgeable, full of consciousness, self-luminous, and the abode of bliss. What more should I say to you? Contemplate this deeply and realize yourself. By contemplating on these 12 bhavanas leads to right thinking and to Samyak Darshan. All Shravikas and Munis contemplate on these 12 bhavanas for Ved Gyan and Atma Kalyan. So contemplating on this 12 is only for our own benefit, right? For our own happiness. When we experience our true self, then we are on the right path to moksha. Otherwise, what we are doing right now for the study of ourself through the scriptures is to get that dasha, that whatever we are learning in Shastra, we also experience it. It should come to our experience level, realization level, not just only studying, but into practical application and to the realization level. So more and more Swadhyay do. I also explained in the second Bhavana, Asharan Bhavana, the study of Shastra Abhyas, the 10 immediate benefits, why we need to do, and not just for only 30 minutes, 45 minutes or 1 hour, but as much as possible. Daily is better, because there's Vithyatva, the wrong perception that we have from Anadi se, it needs a strong prahar of, the jor, the power of Swadhyay. When we know this, when we have that anand, that happiness in knowing myself, everything will be sahaj, everything will flow automatically. That appropriate nimit will also come. We don't need to worry about what I'll get circumstances. You don't need to worry about anything. When you do the study of self and you really ponder about it and you're on that path for that, nimit will also automatically, we don't need to worry about it. So this Ratna Chintamani Dullabh Manushya Bhav is very rare. And if you want to make it a true success, we have to do this contemplation, anupreksha of this Bara Bhavana, only for our own Atma Kalyan, nobody else. It's just for our own Atma Kalyan. Because this sansar is in 4 gatis. We have gone in this vicious cycle of from so many births. 84 lakh yonis. We just did our Samvatsari Pratikraman, who did, yesterday when we did Alochana, we talked about, when we did Pratikraman, talking about all these yonis and Shamakna from all the Jews. And we know, even Devlok is the illusion that they are very happy, but it is not also permanent, right? It also gets over at some point. And when it last 6 months, when they know, they become very, very sorrowful state. Narak, everybody knows it's so much of pain. And Pandit Daulat Ram Singh Chhadala has elaborately explained the sorrows of each and every gati. I mean, it gives a goosebump to read the sorrows for all the gatis. And then we really feel like, it's not worth having klesh or to be in this sansar. It is best to be in my own soul in a everlasting place. So Daulat Ramji have, if you want to read this, Pandit Daulat Ramji's book, Chhadala, extensively elaborate description of the sorrows of each and every gati. So Dev Gati is no exception. It has also so much sorrows. Narak Gati, we understand it. Tariyanch also, we know they are fighting for their survival. And Manushya, it is called precious, very, very precious, Ratna Chintamani, because it is countable vows that we get as a Manushya Gati, in a Manushya Gati, Sangni Panchendriya, and to have this avlamban, the support of our Jinvani to do Atma Kalyan, to get this opportunity is the rarest of all. Even though you're born in Manushya Gati, but if you don't have avlamban, the support of Jinvani, you are lost. This human life is lost. Like, what the birth, like precious human birth that you got is lost until you realize this. So what I'm trying to say is, Ratna Chintamani Dulabh Manushya Bho. Don't let go of this precious moment. Each and every moment is very precious. We don't know how much our Ayushya is, right? We don't know about that. We don't know what our next birth is. So why do we want to wait for old age, or when I retire, or when I get done with my worldly affairs? Why do we wait for that moment also? Because we don't know what our Ayushya is. And we also don't know what our next birth is also. So to do our Atma Kalyan is right now. And what better time can be in these auspicious days of Das Lakshan Mahaparva. So no further delay, contemplate on these bhavanas again and again for our own Atma Kalyan. If we don't do it right now, this precious human birth is lost, and we don't want to do this. So I just want to say that, this human birth is very, very precious. Infinite bliss is within me. I just have to know it. I have to just believe in it. As Srimad Ji says, Nijatmano Ashraile, take the avlamban support of your own soul and have sambhav for all jeeves. It is not worth having klesh for anyone or anything. Take refuge of your own soul and sambhav for all jeeves. Thank you all for spending your valuable time in listening to Anyatva Bhavana. Michhami Dukram, if I've misinterpreted or said anything against Jinvani, my immense gratitude and grace of Dev and Guru, the revered spiritual dignitaries, pravachans, paramagamanners, and Swadhyay. Jai Jinendra.
If you want to stop sharing, Kinnari. Thank you very much for a wonderful talk, Kinnari. What a good storyteller she is, isn't she? So very well done. I'm sure we learned a lot more things, not just Anyatva Bhavana. As she was saying, how we should disassociate with the body, and automatically everything else will be disassociated. I heard a very good example, and I think it kind of sits well with, even though it sort of is a negative example, but still it makes the point very clear. When a person gets divorced with his or her spouse, don't all the other relationships sort of automatically get cut off without making much effort? It's the same way. When you disassociate with your body, everything automatically is easy to disassociate with your other, property, and because everything is related to your body. So that's just one way to think about this Anyatva Bhavana, is that if my body is not mine, then how can everything else be mine? So just that was my 2 cents worth here. And just letting you know, in our audience, there are also some brahmacharis from India who are going to, have the bhav of taking diksha and all. So I'm so glad, doing this in English, we are able to, serve people from all walks of life, from different countries. So thank you so much for attending, and I'm going to ask the questions now. So please participate. So, first question. second. What is the meaning of Anyatva Bhavana in brief? If you don't mind, only during the question answer session, those who can, please try to turn your videos on. And please participate, because these are very simple questions Kinnari has made, and I think they should be fairly easy to answer. Shikha, Smita, can you guys unmute and put your videos on and start answering, please? Thank you. Chaitanya Prakashji, if you can turn your video on or at least answer the questions. So what is the meaning of Anyatva Bhavana? I sort of explained it again at the end also, so it should be a pretty simple answer, and it doesn't have to match what we think. I mean, if it's incorrect, we will correct you. Otherwise, if you're correct, even if it doesn't match what we have, it's okay. Do you want to try, Shika? Are you able to unmute you? Unmute
Yeah.
yourself.
So Anatya Bhavana means apart from your soul, nothing is yours. This body is not yours. So anything related to body, any other material is non-materialistic from soul perspective. So this is Anatya Bhavana. We should just focus on soul, and rest of the things are not worth considering, not worth contemplating.
Very good. Okay. Now, next question. What is the importance of Bhed Gyan?
To be able to differentiate between things which affect soul and all other materialistic thing.
Very good. Can the Neelam ji or Chaitanya ji take this next question? Who should understand do Chintan and Manan of 12 Bhavanas? Neelam ji, are you not able to unmute? You can speak. She's answering in the chat, every soul.
Yeah, every soul should be doing the Chintan and Manan of the 12 Bhavana.
Very good. That's correct. Samyak Drashti as well as Shravaks and Munis. Okay, very good. Now, what is the function of the soul? Or let me put it another way. What are the main characteristics of the soul?
Can I answer?
Yes, please.
So the main characteristics of the souls are, the soul has Ananta Gun. The means are pure, peaceful, powerful, blissful.
Very good. So these are all, yes, characteristics of the soul, but there's two that are how you recognize that. There's two very prominent ones, and that is Gyata and Drashta, knower and observer. Okay, even though you're correct, all the other ones are also characteristics of the soul.
Yes, yes. Thank you.
What is the meaning of Michhami Dukram and Uttam Shama? This everybody should know. Chaitanya Prakashji, would you like to try? I'm not sure if he's, he's answering in the chat. All the Samyak Darshan, Gyan and Moksha Marg, forgiveness. Okay, can you elaborate a little more on this? If you can unmute and speak, that would be good. That is correct. I mean, universal forgiveness, and also your own soul, ask forgiveness to your own soul and all jivas for not being in your soul is the biggest mistake we are making. So first ask for forgiveness for not being in your soul. Now, what are the 10 cardinal virtues? The Das Lakshan Dharma, the festival that's going on. If anyone remembers all 10 of them, please speak. Amisha, do you want to tell the Das Dharma? You can unmute and speak. Shikha, do you remember? I think
I can try. I'm not sure if I
it's
will
okay.
reach to
If you don't
10.
know them all, I'll say them.
Yeah. Uttam Shama, Uttam Marda, Uttam Akinchan, Uttam Sat, Uttam Satya,
Mhm.
Uttam Satya.
Okay, I'll help you through it.
Let me give you
Shama,
some hints.
Ardhav,
Shikha.
Arja, Shoch,
No, Prabha.
Satyam.
Make it easy. Tell them it's opposite of Krodh, Man, Maya, Lobh. First four. So
First
that
four.
makes it
Okay,
easy. First
okay,
four
try
is
that
easy.
way, Shikha.
Okay.
The Kshama Marga was correct. After that, opposite of Maya and then Lobh.
Opposite of Maya
Is Arja, and Shoch is contentment. Then
Uttam Snot,
Satyam,
Uttam Marda.
Tap, Tyag, Akinchan, and Brahmacharya. Regardless, we will listen to all of these each day. So eventually we'll all get them.
But if you want to try to memorize, I'll give you a very simple hints, okay? The first four are very simple. They're opposites of Kashai. Then two start with S, Satya Sanyam. Two start with T, Tap Tyag. So easy. And then last two, one is Brahmacharya and before that it's Akincanya, which is Aparigraha. So you try to, break it up to remember.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Bhavana can lead to moksha or narakati. True or false?
True.
True, very good. Because depending on what you're contemplating on. And just observe, what do we contemplate on mostly all day long? What are the names of 4 auxiliary bhavnas?
Ask Sarojini ji.
Sarojini,
somebody
are you able to answer? Yeah, you can speak. Yeah, Neelam. She talked about these in both her.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Maitri, Pramod, Karuna, Madhyastha.
Very good.
Very good.
The 4 bhavnas. Very good. And then the next question is, what are the first 6 bhavnas? So we are already on the 5th one today.
5th one.
So, yeah, speaking of that, please, my apologies. I think in the beginning I said ekatva by mistake. So just correcting myself. So who can say the first 6 bhavnas?
Any of the other people want to participate?
Anitya Bhavana, Asharan Bhavana, Sansar Bhavana, Ekatva Bhavana, Anitya Bhavana, Ashuchi Bhavana.
Very good. And then the last question, who is my savior?
My soul.
Very good. Very good. So thank you all for participating. Like I said, our attendance has gone down from 68 used to be, and I think part of it is because Paryushan Shwetambar Paryushan just got over and people are taking, I think, a couple of days of rest. Hopefully our attendance will increase. But I do notice significant number of people do go on YouTube and watch these videos. So I think these efforts are still worth it. So, okay, so tomorrow will be Ashuchi Bhavana, and it will be presented by a new speaker that has not come in this session before. It's Dr. Chakravarti. So looking forward to that. And please all join. It's a new speaker. So every speaker has their own style. So if you will observe, everybody will emphasize on a certain way, certain different things, and which is good because we have so many different styles and it makes it interesting. If we hear the same speaker, it kind of becomes monotonous. So with this, Shobhaji, do you have anything else to add? Okay, if not, I will end. We will also do Kamemi Savve Jiva every day since, this is still Pariyushan going on. Kamemi Savve Jiva, Savve Jiva Kamantu me, Mitti me Sava Bhuvesu, Veram Majam na Kenai. सहजानंदी शुद्ध स्वरूपी अविनाशी हूँ आत्म स्वरूप सहजानंदी शुद्ध स्वरूपी अविनाशी हूँ आत्म स्वरूप सहजानंदी शुद्ध स्वरूपी अविनाशी हूँ आत्म स्वरूप निज निधि निज में बताई यह अनंत उपकार है इसके लिए जिन वाणी माँ को वंदना शत बार है वंदना शत बार है. Jai Jinendra, everybody. And see
Jai
you
Jinendra.
tomorrow.